Our second example is a little bit different in the sense that the formula is a little more complicated. And the question says to determine a person's keyboarding skills on a word processor, the formula is S equals W minus 10E divided by T is used, where S is the keyboarding speed in words per minute, W is the number of words keyed, E is the number of errors, and T is the time in minutes. Okay, so that's our information, and it asks us to rearrange the formula solving for the number of errors E. So we're going to start with that. We're going to start with actually, I'm going to clone the original equation. So this is our starting point. And with our starting point, they want us to solve for the E this time. So I am just going to highlight the E. So when I'm looking at this, and I told you the hint was do the opposite of bedmas. So let's look. If I had this formula, I would go W minus 10 times the E and then divide that all that number by T. So the opposite would be dividing by T, so I'm going to be multiplying both sides by T. So normally I would fill this in and then divide by T. So this is my starting point. So the opposite of dividing by T would be to multiply both sides by T. So we would multiply this side by T, and we would multiply this side by T. And when we do that, we end up with, as soon as I find my pen, we end up with ST equals W minus 10E. Now again, remember what we're after. We're after to have that E by itself. Okay, so you can see that in order to do that, I have a W minus 10E. Normally, I would do multiplication first, followed by the adding or subtracting. So in this case, I have to do the adding and subtracting first because that would be the opposite of bedmas. So the opposite of W would be to subtract W from both sides. Okay, now it's not add W because it's a minus 10T. So we're going to subtract W, in other words, subtract W here. When we do that, we end up with our equation being ST minus W equals negative 10E. Now you can see that we're getting closer to having that E by itself. The only thing we have to do now is get rid of the negative 10. Well, the negative 10 here is being multiplied by E, so that means we're going to divide both sides by negative 10. Now when we're dividing both sides, it's everything on the left side that has to be divided by negative 10. So the 10's here cross out and we're left with E by itself, and again I'm going to put it on the left hand side, and what I'm left with on the right hand side is ST minus W, all of that divided by 10. Okay, so we've rearranged it for determining the number of errors. Now let's look at the next part of the question. It says, a person types 600 words in 6 minutes and has a keyboarding speed of 75 words per minute. How many errors were made? Now again, this is just an estimate, a guesstimate in a sense, of what the person would do. So we need to go back and take our equation that we've just created. Okay, and I'm just going to group it. And the reason hopefully I grouped it. I did. And now I'm going to clone it and bring it down for us to work with. So here it is, and just like the previous question, I'm going to write down on the right-hand side my letters so I can then determine what I have. So E, an S, a T, and a W. And I need to determine what each one of those letters stands for. Well, E, if I go back to the question and find E, there's the E. E is the number of errors. Well, in this question, I want to determine the number of errors, how many errors were made. So I'm going to put a question mark there. S. Again, look back at the original question. S. Here it is. S. S is the keyboarding speed in words per minute. So keyboarding skills in words per minute. So I want something with words per minute. Well, if I look in my question, words per minute is here, 70 words per minute. So that is what my speed is. T, I imagine, is going to be time, but I'll just go back up and see if that is right. T, oh, there it is. T is time in minutes. So we need to make sure ours is in minutes. Well, there it is. It says in 6 minutes, and it is in minutes, so we can put 6 here. And lastly, I need to find what W stands for. W, where are you, W? Oh, here it is. W is the number of words keyed. Okay, number of words keyed. So it says a person types 600 words. So that's the 600, and that's what we need for our words, the words keyed. So if you notice, we've found from a previous lesson that we have our variables. We determined by going back to what they stood for. Then we saw what information we had, filled it in, and now it's a matter of substituting. So now we're going to go back to our question, and we are going to substitute our values in. So our S, so we have 75 times 6 minus 600, and then all of that is going to be divided by -10. Again, watch your order of operation this time. Okay, you have to follow it this time. So when we type this in, we end up with, let's see, -150. And on the bottom, we have a -10. So our answer is going to be a positive number. 150 divided by 10, so we're looking at 15. So what we discovered is this person would make 15 errors. So therefore, and since writing with this isn't always the greatest, I'm going to switch to the lovely typing. Therefore, the person made, and actually maybe made, 15 errors. Okay, so now you're going to be ready to try some questions yourself.